What's going on, y'all? It's J Smo Reviews here, back at it again with another video, man. Bringing you guys my recap for yesterday's event, Now or Never 3, brought to you by Street Talk Entertainment. I did my predictions video early in the week, and for anyone that saw that, you know that I was excited for this card this past weekend. I thought that they had some heavy hitters on the card. Obviously, Hollow vs. Chef Trez is the main event. Ill Will and Core, Arsenal and Real Deal, etc. There was real battles of value here, and I thought with how their Mean 3 event went earlier in the year, pretty good production, that we could see that at a higher level here. And just to be quite frank with you, this event was an atrocity of epic proportions. Everything that you could imagine could have went wrong. And I think from the league side and the battler side, this event really symbolizes almost every issue we're having with battle rap here in 2025, whether that be the production, delay, crowd. We're going to get into all those things. And on the artist side, you had people a few that had a decent performance. Of course, we're going to go over every battle, and we're going to give credit where credit's due for those that tried. But you had some people that had some decent performances, those who tried to, had decent, good material, but fought through what was a extremely dead and disengaged crowd. And then, of course, with any bad event, you had a handful of battle rappers that showed up just for their check to do whatever the fuck and then leave the venue. So we're going to discuss all those different things. This is your warning right now that this is a far more negative than positive review, because more bad things happen than good things happen. But with that being said, we can get into everything that occurred with Now or Never 3. So this event was supposed to start at 2 p.m. on the East Coast out in Brooklyn, right? Which for me here in Denver would have been 12 on the dot. And this event started not just 1 hour late, not just 2 hours late, not just 3 hours late, in honor of the Fantastic Four coming out this week, which I will be seeing for the second time here in a little bit later today. This event was 4 hours late, which is a cartoonish amount of time wasted. It's not even realistic. So if you're an at-home viewer and you've carved out time to watch this, right? Same way you watch any other sporting event, right? You're gonna watch, you're gonna watch Monday Night Football. That's 3 or 4 hours you're putting towards that. Oh, NBA playoffs are on today. I'm gonna go watch that. Make sure I got time at around 6 p.m. for 3 or 4 hours. Well, this event just wastes your time for 4 hours before getting into the near 6.5 hour event that it has. So you're losing those viewers at home, and even worse, which we'll talk about a lot through this event, you're gonna lose that crowd in the building. This crowd woke up dead. From first battle to last, they were never engaged. And I'm pretty sure a big part of that is waiting outside the building to get in. Getting in, which I already heard that they were far from packing out the building. There wasn't a lot of people in there. But then you get in and there's 4 hours of nothing and no communication before you even get to the raps. The league is doing itself no favors. And this is nearly identical to T-Top's no-cut event that happened earlier this year in Brooklyn. Not only did it happen in Brooklyn, it happened in this exact same venue. And this event had all of the same problems. The audio was absolute garbage. The crowd was completely dead. And then this event ran way too long, basically towards midnight, if not past midnight. So all of these things are wrong before we've even seen a rapper touch the stage. And then the rappers started getting on stage. So your first battle is, before we even get to that, rappers getting on stage, 2 battles were canceled as well. J Murda vs. Un P and Swave 7 vs. Av, which were both supposed to happen. I would complain about that and how last minute it was, but to be honest with you, with how late this event ran and what it looked like, we definitely didn't need 2 more battles of content. So actually, in hindsight, that might have saved us a little bit of the time, which was already robbed from us in excess. But you have Tink the Demon versus Big K starts tonight. Big K attempts to rap about 4 different times to kick off the battle, but the mic's feedback is absolutely killing him. We're starting off wrong in every facet of the game. So Big K needs an extra 10 or 15 minutes because the mics just aren't working. Then we get into the battle itself. Tink the Demon actually beats Big K in the first round. Big K had very strict to the time limit rounds, 90 seconds, 2 minutes on the dot, which we've seen him kind of in that bag before. Tink had a good first round, so Tink was up 1-0. I'm like, this is an interesting start to the battle. Tink seemed pretty locked in. I talked about how his unique style, when he does find footing and he's not long, dragged out, or unclean. He has moments where he's good. So Tink started out 1-0, but then from there, battle goes probably how most would expect in the predictions. Big K gets better each round. His second's pretty funny, making fun of Tink's name. He actually does a whole third round angle breaking down Tink's name and where he got his name from. That frog in the trenches bar, I thought was pretty good. And Tink isn't clean for the rest of the battle. So Tink chokes in the second. For like a long, Tink spent more time choking in the second than rapping. Just call time, brother. It's not even that type of event where you got to be doing all this, right? We've already wasted enough time. So Tink stumbling through the third. He's not even good in the third. He chokes in the second. Big K 2-1 second and third. Pretty quick. And, if the opener is meant to set the tone for the night, this actually did a very accurate job because it was a very battle. And then a lot of battles followed after this. So after Tink versus Big K, you have Shotgun Suge versus Pain. So I'm not going to say Tink mailed it in. He just wasn't good, right? I think he was trying, but he was trying and kind of just failed for the most part. Shotgun Suge is the first performance this night of straight donation season. Shotgun Suge did not give a fuck about his performance in this battle. Short rounds, stumbling, not even direct material for the most part at Pain. Pain beat Shotgun Suge 3-0. And I think Suge's had a pretty good year so far leading up into this battle, right? The easy performance is great. And even though the material takes a dip in the Swamp rematch a lot, he's not good in the Swamp rematch, but he wins. And I had him beating E Hart on the Bags and Bodies one night stand card. This is finally that culmination of Suge just showing up and just giving away a win, just showing up for a check. So Pain 3-0. Pain was pretty cool. He had a pretty solid performance, but it was nothing to write away with. And now we're 2 battles in with just performances. Very clear results, nothing to debate, and not a lot of replay value, right? Then you get to Ill Will versus Cortez. Now, I got to give it to Ill Will and Cortez. The crowd already, third battle of the night, completely basically disengaged. I mean, Cortez is battling in Brooklyn here, so you can hear some of his people cheering for him. But even for the level of performance he gave, I don't think he got enough love. Ill Will versus Cortez is battle of the night. It is the best battle of the card, in my opinion. I actually thought they were both really good. I thought they both brought 3 rounds of really good material. They even showed enough composure to perform with energy through what clearly is a bad situation. So it's unfortunate because the footage just isn't going to be all that good. Ill Will is saying multiple times, this crowd is dead as fuck, man. They don't want to hear what I got to say. But if you really listen to Cortez and Ill Will rap, they both went crazy for 3 rounds. I actually think every round of the battle is debatable. That's how close I think it is. And I had a feeling it would be a good battle going in. I saw Cortez gave me a little bit of flack on Twitter for how I addressed his year. I did not know, as I said to him, I did not know that you battled Pain earlier on this league in the year, brother. So that's on me for missing that. But you look at this Ill Will performance, it's a lot like that King performance. It's high-level Cortez material. I personally had Cortez edging the first 2 rounds of the battle. So I had Cortez first and second and Ill Will in the third. But you could call this either way. You could give Ill Will the second and third, the first and third. You could damn near have either of them gentlemen's 30. I just think they were both really great versions of themselves all rounds. So it's almost going to be preferential between which battler you just like to listen to more on any given day. But I could tell that they were frustrated. I think while there was some decent performances from here on out throughout the night, no one else reached the level of quality they did. So it's unfortunate they're not going to get like the full love they should get for the type of battle it was. But I thought Cortez versus Ill Will was really, really good. I had Cortez 2-1 edge, but I got to give a shout out to both battlers because it's the one time in the night that I thought there might be a glimmer of hope for a couple more good battles. So I don't remember if this was before Ill Will and Cortez or after. Might have been both, but there was like an hour, if not 2-hour-long intermissions, which would have been great if we had some commentary, which technically we were supposed to. It was Geechee Gotti, Jazz the Rapper, and Ike P, who popped up for commentary, I think like 2 times throughout the night, like at the very end and then once in the beginning. I was like, wasn't there supposed to be commentary in this card? Also very similar to T-Top's No Cut card, where I think it was Henny Man, Cortez, it was supposed to be DNA doing commentary, and they only brought it up like once before the end of the night and there was no DNA. I don't know what's going on in this particular venue out in Brooklyn. Hit the goddamn building with a fucking bulldozer. I want to see a pile of debris on the floor after an event like this, because clearly that venue is serving of no purpose to anyone. So the commentary basically was non-existent, so there's nothingness in between. One of those where eventually after an hour you run to do something else, you come back and you miss the first round of a battle that finally popped up. So once again, just slowing down the night. Another thing that was just wrong. So the next battle from there, I believe, was Arsenal versus Real Deal. So I was kind of describing my situation when I said I walked away for a bit because it had been so long and I missed the first round of a battle. I missed the first round of Arsenal versus Real Deal. So if anyone else has seen it, please let me know what you thought of the first round. I'll go back and watch it when I get a chance. But I missed that, so I ended up catching the second and the third round of the battle. I did not like either performance from Arsenal or Real Deal here. In the second round, didn't like what either of them did, but I just really didn't like what Real Deal did. He took more of like a, matching disrespect approach, which a lot of people do, versus Arsenal. He had this bar about like gaping holes, and I don't even really want to repeat it, to be honest with you, but Real Deal went into that horrorcore disrespect and he completely lost me for that portion of the battle. So I didn't love what Arsenal did, but even just him getting in his pockets of outdated material was better than what Real Deal gave you in the second round. Third round of the battle, I had Real Deal winning it. It was close though. I want to say you could give it to Ars, but Ars also rapped during this round. Let's be honest, no girl sex. That's what was going on. That's the type of quality you were getting in this Arsenal versus Real Deal battle. I saw in the commentary that popped up, one of the two times it popped up, they did talk about this battle, and they said that Arsenal had won the battle. They were also saying that Loso and Clips was a good battle, so I don't know how much I could trust these legends. I got to be totally honest with you. I think they were in I got paid to do this, I'm going to be nice mode. But Arsenal and Real Deal, for the 2 rounds I caught, it was whatever. Then from there, you get to Charlie Clips versus Loso, I think was next. And that went about how you thought it would go. I'm so tired of everything that involved this event. I can't do my regular bit about Mr. Chuckles and Clips not giving a fuck and being Osama bin Bars and committing acts of terror during this event. But all that shit happened. It was an oddly personal battle between Clips and Loso. Clips going at Loso for being an alcoholic and I guess a fraud. And then Loso going at Clips for his gambling addiction. The new stuff that came out about that ex that had a lot to say about Clips online. So it was a messy ass battle, but it was also messy because Clips effectively did not give a fuck as well during this battle. So Loso 3-0, it was a weak Loso performance too, just nothing to write off about for this battle. Then we have T-Top versus Fonz. So Clips was in Mr. Chuckles mode, and then to follow that right up, the sequel, so was T-Top. Fonz 3-0'd T-Top. They are friends. I know that they're pretty cool in real life going into this battle. I thought it was a matchup we may never get because I think they're that cool outside of the ring. But I thought Fonz was one of the people who actually had like a decent performance. It's not a great Fonz. By the third, like a few people did in these battles, even Fonz's effort is going away because he can just see the crowd wants pretty much nothing to do with any of the battle raps going on at the battle rap event, which is kind of crazy when you put it like that. But Fonz actually had, I'd even say, a good first round. I thought he was pretty decent in the second before he tailed off in the third. But T-Top stumbling, it's not even really direct material. It's just a night and day difference from that Miss Hustle performance where he's elite. And he basically body bags Miss Hustle on a big stage in the middle of the run that she was having, where the last few years, it's not just easy to clear her. But outside of that Miss Hustle battle this year, T-Top has battled Fonz, J2, and Kid Chaos, and he has not given any effort in those matchups. So that was a quick Fonz 3-0. It's one of the more decent performances of the card, but another one where someone tried and someone didn't, and the footage isn't all that good either. So then after T-Top and Fonz, you get to Twerk versus Steams, which was the co-main event, to replace what was once T-Rex versus Steams. It's a cool battle. I really actually don't have as many gripes. It's not as good as Ill Will versus Cortez. But unlike many battles on here, it's not just like throw it away type of footage. I actually thought both of their first rounds were pretty good. And it played out how a lot of Steams and Twerk battles have actually played out this year. Steams is pretty good in this battle. He wins the second round. Twerk wasn't all that clean. He has decent material in that first. I think he dies out a little in the third, but even then, they were two of the more locked-in battlers of the night. But I think Twerk just reached higher highs, even with a more reserved performance. I think he was just better in the first round, so I had him up 1-0. But like I said, pretty decent start from both. I had Steams winning the second, and then Twerk wins the third. It was both of their weakest rounds, but I thought Steams really kind of hit a low in terms of like dry spots and not landing much material. So I actually had Twerk 2-1 over Steams. It was close enough though, and like a lot of Steams battles, like I have Steams losing like I do for the rest of the battles this year, but I think Steams fought and he did enough to make it one of the better battles of the night. So if I'm walking away telling you what are some of the better back and forths, you have Ill Will and Core, you have Twerk versus Steams, and then the rest of it is just lopsided battles where if you're a fan of Fonz or you're a fan of Loso, you'll probably catch the material and enjoy it more than someone that's not a huge fan of them, but the rest of it is just pretty inadmissible. And that leaves you with the main event of Hollow to Don versus Chef Trez, where I've already been frustrated all throughout this card, right? But this is the part where I get a little bit more like sad, to be honest with you, because Hollow to Don versus Chef Trez is a fantastic matchup. It's so deserving and perfect for Chef Trez, who's had an incredible prime for the past couple of years. The style matchup of Hollow and Trez and kind of that unorthodox, anything could happen in their rounds, jack of all trade type of battlers, like it matches up so perfectly. And they even had good material, especially for the first two rounds. Even Hollow, who I've been critical of for the last few years, especially since he's got more active. He's so hit or miss performance-wise. But I liked Hollow. I thought he was respectable in the first two rounds of this battle. But the crowd at this point is not just dead. They are the undead. They were dead. They came back as zombies. They died again. So there's like zero respect going down for a very like a valuable main event where both of them are giving their effort. And I give them actually both so much credit for not just rapping good material, but in those first two rounds, they performed like with poise. They had the energy as if this was a popping event to try to save part of this footage. But this is, it's just, there's only so much they can do. So in the first two rounds of the battle, like I said, I like Hollow, but I thought Chef Trez did what he was supposed to do and show up really, really good for this plate. You know he cares about this Hollow plate. He respects him as an opponent. I think he had said something like, Hollow and Rock for me are like the Mook and Lux as a battle rap. Those are the legends that he looks up to in that sense. And the level of performance he gave lived up to that statement. I love Chef Trez's first round in this battle. I thought it was, crowd or no crowd being engaged, I thought he was cooking. I thought Hollow was cooking in the first. I edged Chef Trez that first round because I think it was low-key one of the best rounds of the night, but it was a good start to the battle. The second, the energy starts to scale back a little because how are you going to perform with happiness in a place that is devoid of happiness, right? So I think it's even maybe the most debatable round of the battle. I thought that they were both pretty decent. I thought Hollow actually kept that consistency from his first, while Chef Trez dialed it back a little bit. I still had Chef Trez taking the second round, so I had him up 2-0, but maybe there's an argument for 1-1 somewhere in there. And then you get to the third round of the battle, and this is where everyone just wanted this event to end, including the two battlers involved. So Hollow raps for about 30 seconds, and then just says, "Loopy, I'm out of here." Like, you can tell he didn't choke. He didn't forget his material. He wasn't even rapping terrible. He was just so over this god-awful situation, crowd, and card that everyone was a part of. And he said, I'm not going to waste everyone's time. I'm just calling time. Chef Trez raps a little bit longer, enough to like lock down and clearly win the third round, but it's his weakest round in comparison. He's just speeding through the material, and he calls time early as well. So you get Chef Trez. I had him 3-0. At the worst, you can have Chef Trez 2-1 clear, and it's just a shame because the matchup gets wasted. It just gets wasted. This could have went down on bigger leagues in bigger spots at bigger events. It could have went down on a TBL, a Bags and Bodies, a URL, and been a good battle. If you literally take the raps they wrote, the energy they had, you pick them up, you put them somewhere on a better league at like 7 p.m. instead of the middle of the night and give them a chance, this could live up to everything this battle should have been, which is a very good battle of the night level battle. But it just gets wasted because it is on what I referred to earlier. We're bringing this back as a pop-up league. And I love that they had Mean 3 earlier this year, Street Talk Entertainment. It was a pretty good event. I gave the production credit, the quality of the battle, the battlers showed up with effort, right? And this is a night and day difference where, listen, you did just come off of a good event, right? But not every league needs to be booking top-tier names like this. And I know that shout out Scoop, who I think is like the league owner there, who I know that he's in the spaces a lot. He's trying to be active within the culture. And I see that he's trying to do good things. But when you just pop up and you're like, well, I'm just going to book big names, right? If you don't have the capabilities of functionally throwing the events of this level, where you have a Hollow Denon versus Chef Trez, you have a T-Top versus Fonz, or an Ill Will versus Cortez, all three of these battles could have value elsewhere, like really be really good battles or affect some of these years of these top tier battle rappers. So you throw it on here in jank production, you're wasting people's time, you're wasting people's material, the artist's material and time as well. We're not going to run back Hollow versus Chef Trez. This is what we get. This should have been one of the biggest landmark battles of Chef Trez's career, especially with the way he's been rapping the last few years. This is supposed to be Hollow Dedon's last battle in New York. I don't know if he's telling the truth. Battlers fake retire all the time. But if this is Hollow's last battle in New York and it's this anything ass battle, it's just sad. It's disappointing, and it becomes a stain on the culture when any league can book major matchups like this and just completely waste the potential that it has. And that's what this whole event feels like. It feels like wasted time. It feels like wasted potential, and it further reinforces the idea that we just have too many fucking leagues in battle rap right now. We do not need everybody to book everything. And I saw it happen at the beginning of the year when the no-cut card came out, and Bags and Bodies was dropping, and TBL was dropping, and that random league that's ABCD league, literally ABCD fucking battle league, is supposed to have Av and Verb and John and Swamp later in the year, and they're probably going to waste those too. Certain levels of leagues don't need to be booking important level battle rap. When it comes to Bags and Bodies and TBL, who have been around now for about a year, TBL even longer than that, but are climbing to that top level, I'm trusting their production. I'm trusting the effort that they're putting behind it, spacing out the events as well. But there shouldn't be 20 different leagues that can book the highest level of battle rap, because then you get this where, what does it matter? It makes Hollow Denon and Chef Trez seem like something that just doesn't fucking matter. And that's what happens when you put very important battles in the hands of leagues that have no business booking it. So it's not disrespect. It just is what it is. We're at the highest level of oversaturation that I've ever seen, and we have to get back to a hierarchy where leagues, big leagues that can make battles matter, are booking the battles that matter. Not people doing it for a quick cash grab, I'll get a couple thousand here because this league will just book it. I'll knock it out the way real quick. Harmful for the artist, harmful for the league, and most importantly, harmful for the optics of battle rap in general. I think there was even a point where Twerk was mad at the crowd talking through it, and he's like, yo, Scoop, you're talking through my round. This is your event. Like, get it the fuck together. It was a joke. This was all one big fucking joke and really a mockery of what modern day battle rap is. But that is my full recap here for Now or Never 3. And obviously this was a more harsh one. Not even as many jokes as there just is like being over it. And that's how I feel about this and a lot of small league battle rap in general. And that's why, even though, I'm media with JSpo Reviews, but I'm a part of the Let's Talk Battle Rap team, and we cover probably the most battle rap of any media platform in battle rap, from small league to bigger leagues, the in-depth breakdowns and articles we've done over the years and what we've built up. But it's been so much harder for us to cover small league battle rap, especially this year, because this is the roll of the dice that it is, that we want to do a full article rollout and live tweet, maybe even a space, and then a recap show after. But when it's this, and it's 4 hours late, and it's already under promoed, so there's already not enough eyes on it because it's not talked about enough, and then we want to show it love so it gets that attention it deserves because of the names and matchups, but then you go here and it's not a functionable product. Like, this isn't, a consumer can't buy this and be okay with it. You know what I mean? It's just, it ends up meaning nothing in the long run of things. Battles come and go, and now you get a battle like Hollow to Don versus Chef Trez that I've asked for years, and this is just what it becomes. So I can go on and on. It can get worse if I keep talking, so I'm just going to cut it there. I want to hear your guys' opinions in the comment section down below. If you also happen to watch this event, what did you think of it? Is there any of those highs that you want to give some love to real quick before you get to downing it? Ill Will vs. Cortez, like I said, was good. I thought Twerk and Steams was decent. Hollow and Trez, the footage is cooked, but I know the effort they tried to give, and I liked some of that material. Fonz was okay. Pain was okay, right? But you guys let me know any of the positives, and of course, any gripes that you have. Do you agree with me where there's just too many leagues? And I had a feeling it would end up hurting battle rap. We're not even at the end of the year after this big boom of leagues early in the first half of the year. And I think that's effectively what we're seeing it do right now. So any opinions, negative or positive, please let me know in the comment section down below, man. But it's been J Smo Reviews again here, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. Please give me more Summer Madness announcements so I can smile in my next video for you guys. And I'm going to catch you on the next one, man. Peace.